Hopefully. No. All right. Here we go. Find something worth drawing. I guess that's the question. Let's look at the Linktober stuff. Whoa. Pardon my snacking, but they're hungry. Main calendar. Ooh, nostalgia. This might work. Hey, Danny. All the talk about old school Zelda cartoon had me a little reminiscent. And check this out. Today's prompt would be nostalgia. Or, you know, the next one in line. Maybe we draw some classic Zelda. Zelda cartoon. Not to steal Donald's idea, but it was a good one. The wild timing, yeah. Okay. YouTube Zelda cartoon. Hell yeah. I'm gonna do my best to my take on Charlie. What would be my take on Charlie? Who's Charlie? Look at this. These episodes were only 16 minutes long. How do you write for that? That's crazy.
Hey, paisanos!
Animation was so bad. Okay. I thought the Zelda animation was good, but the Mario animation was
has the Triforce of power.
Charlie Kirk.
Whoever gets both Triforces will rule this land forever. You must help me, Link.
Hey, for you,
We're not gonna
Zelda,
touch that.
anything.
Oh, you're not talking about my drawing page. Let me turn this down. Let me pause this. As I chew and swallow eggs. There were a lot of people who probably gravitated towards his politics. I've never watched his debates or his streams. Definitely not anything more than like the sound bites. I think if I could, I'd like to lead by an example that is not, it's interesting. You know, in his own, everybody in their own mind is the good guy. And of course, I'm sure Charlie was no exception, and as a person with a family. You know, I can't imagine. Only because I mince words politically in this discourse, because it's a, I sort of see myself as trying to, in a world, see, it used to be we'd be in a studio, right? Artists working together on different projects, sometimes the same project. But we would pick up the cues from each other as to what was and what wasn't appropriate to sort of like talk about, you know, politics-wise. Some people don't really get that not all politics is just talk. And Charlie might have been a perpetrator of that, and he might have been a victim of that. But I don't know enough about a specific situation to, you know, weigh in like an expert. Well, I'll put it this way. If and when you are among clients or bosses or employees, it's difficult, but sometimes there's a way to phrase arguments and positions in ways that unify instead of when my daughter was sick, for instance, that was a complicated time in my life, but also a very simple time. Yeah, the family and the kids were in the witnessing of all that. That was horrible. That is like, I don't know what to say, except I'm not apathetic to the situation. I have been very much watching news, wondering if new real information is out that isn't just rumor, and seems like there's very little to go on at the moment. So whatever I might say is super early, so let's not do that. There is a I would say that this might be almost a fact, but in times of great trauma, art is one of those things that can bring together, you know, and solidify our common understanding and empathies, and you know, can't we find common ground, right, in something that is beautiful, right? Sometimes we all think we have different definitions of the same things. Sometimes that's true, but I think more often than not, we can use art, or that place in our heart that responds to art, as a compass to find our way forward a little bit more peacefully, perhaps. In times of trauma, I'll tell you this much: kids in the children's hospital who are quite sick, and in fact sometimes dying, are very much drawn to you know, arts and crafts, and putting that out there. What does that mean? You know, I don't know. I don't know. But, what if we took that as a sort of law of nature? That this is the sort of stuff that even when we are doomed, right? In the worst of times, we're still drawn to it, right? I think it's true. So, you know, I'm hoping perpetrators are brought to perpetrators are brought to justice. If I could say that clearly enough, I would like that to happen. And yeah. Alrighty, well, that'll be my hot take. Not exactly spicy. I hope it isn't. It's not meant to be. We must do better. We must do better. A little drawing never hurt anybody, as far as I'm concerned. All right, good take. I mean, I'm trying to be like respectfully honest to my own opinions, but honest to like what is actually the best example to set. You know. Okay. Enough of that. Because honestly, we don't know what's going on right now. There's a lot of weird, like, misinformation going on right now. Or it's correct information, but we just, no one's ready to sign off on it yet, so. Very interested. We may be talking about it further. But I should also say, let me look directly in the camera for this. Hold on. I'll do this one. This is not a stream where I talk about what's right, or whatever. This is a stream where I use techniques that I've learned and some of them that I've developed to solve artistic problems in a way that, as far as I can tell, is consistent and reproducible. So it's not just vibes. It's and when there are vibes, there are explanations behind the vibes. What happens with that information, I don't even care. As long as humans are doing it and not like robots, basically. Humanity will have its ups and downs. That's a given. I can't control any of that. But if I take everything I know and I bottle it up and I die with it, that helps nobody. And if I instead uncork it and blast it all over everybody, whether they like it or not, that probably could help, provided that knowledge is worth anything. Part of whether or not it's worth anything is what I'm learning by putting it out there. Does it attract people who want to learn it? Does it get good response out in the algorithm and stuff like that? For the most part, I feel like people do respond to it. The algorithm, however, doesn't, but I'm not deterred by that. A small audience of sincere people is all I really want. Okay. So that's the take. Is don't come to me. Here's the real take. Artists are not saints, and we are not your role models, and we are not anything to be uplifted. And for that part, neither are politicians or educators, frankly. Have a little healthy skepticism. And I don't think devotion is a virtue. Don't just give all your power away to someone who speaks as if they know everything, right? So that applies to me. Click the unsubscribe button and block button at this point. Or don't, and see what happens, and we'll do our best. Okay. All right, that's that. All right, there we go. All right, and this is the moment. Super wrinkled side. All right, here we go. Okay, we were... What do you think, Danny? Was that goated or was it cringe? We are sort of blessed with a little bit of a natural prompt today with I mean, I don't know if the Twitch stream ended. Did the Twitch stream end? I've survived a Twitch suspension. I'll survive a YouTube suspension or whatever, slap on the wrist, whatever happens. It's not the end of the world. Do I recognize any of these names? Script Cordiantor. Script Cordiantor. That's not how that is spelled. Storyboard artists. Do I know any of these people? Nope. No worries. Okay, let's quit out of this. Yeah, I just feel like, okay, good to know. Can't watch stuff the way you know you're not supposed to. It's not like I didn't know I wasn't supposed to watch cartoons. You know, you're not supposed to do it that way, so. Doppelganger, for sure. I like this pose. Kind of like this pose. We might have to have some... a few different... like, this is classic. People will understand what this is. You know? You know, I just have to draw them better. That's all. Tricky thing is that I might only have like an hour and a half or something like that. I'll have to go pee in a second. Bye, Donald. Okay. Let's fire up to a little bit of the old, make something of ourselves. Oh, the Mighty Atom. Hey, what's going on, man? Adam is a fellow storyboard artist. Adam, it may not be your jam, but the I am like sort of doing it. I'm not sort of doing it. I'm doing a Discord, but it's mostly like me being an old man trying to teach slightly younger, if not much younger people what little I know. But it's in the corner. If you feel like ever joining another Discord. And you might already be in it. I don't know about it, but not a big deal. Okay, today we're doing Linktober. Linktober. The next one on the docket is nostalgia. So we're gonna draw a little bit of the Zelda cartoon. A little bit of this. Boom. Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to draw. I have to draw like a little thing. What is that, like, original... That, there's that Calvin. This, right? You have to have like the arc. And, you know, you gotta get like the shading just right. The infamous Calvin sticker, yeah. And then, so as to not be uncouth, we'll just use a euphemism and call it a side quest. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go on a quick side quest. I'll be right back. All right, here we go. Boy, that's this is save worthy. Whoa, what'd I do? I saved it somewhere I don't even know. Okay, well that's good. It's saved. Saved somewhere. Woo. All right. This will be fun. Let's start here. We'll make some Zelda music happen in a second. It's interesting. The Princess Mononoke one that I did is being well received, but then it hits a ceiling, and it's like it doesn't really get much further than the like people are like, this is amazing, but then it like there's whatever limit things from just exploding into the universe seem to apply, and I feel like it gets a little stifled. I don't want it not to be the case, but I'm not sure what else I can do other than just keep cranking. Okay, so we're gonna apply some like figure drawing and whatever principles to maybe some like pose optimizing to these kinds of poses that we're seeing here. Zelda. This stuff is not bad at all. Okay, we don't see the whole pose, so we don't need to see all of it. Let's use which? Should we go with this brush? It is goated, after all. Yeah, let's try it. A little bit. I've found that when it hits the ceiling, the algorithm expects users to share the post more. I mean, my own suspicion is that the algorithm expects me to, say, boost it and, you know, press the button where you actually pay to... because this is the being a little bit more on the inside than necessarily most other people. It's like Instagram is like a client of mine. It's a distant but actual client of mine, and they're sort of running out of ways to make money the way they want to. Advertisers have discovered that viewbotting is a thing, and that Instagram is kind of complicit in it. So when that is part of the equation, all of a sudden the purse strings get a little tighter, and Instagram has to make money off of its users in a different way. The lure of viral fame perhaps is enough to get suckers like me to fork over cash, but not. Okay, I'm skipping steps here and I shouldn't be. We have to ask, like, what are we drawing? Are we drawing this image, or are we drawing our own version of Zelda? Has to be a little bit of our own thing. Let's take a perfectly good start and throw that away. Try it again. too big. But this might be right. Rib cages and pelvises have huge amounts of differentiation between each person. Most people actually don't vary that much in head size. But relative like to overall body mass, some people can have like really huge hips and then really small heads and then really small rib cages, or and every variation in between. But what tends to not be wildly, like if our heads varied the same way that our rib cages or our pelvises did, you would see people with gigantic heads or really tiny heads, for instance. And I guess, you know, we do see some variation like that, but it's not as pronounced as it is with the other parts of our body. And in this case, like, the animators are following a model that they are able to reference, but it always has to fit in the composition, and their individual talents will vary. And anyway, we're just doing studies. It doesn't matter. But here's a question. Given Zelda's head here, like, is her face tilted up or is it tilted down? It's kind of not really decisive, but I would. We're gonna venture. Look at the angle of her tiara gives us a clue. So we're gonna angle it up. I think the algorithm wants users to share the post organically so that people want to visit the website to get hooked. If the posts can't do it organically, then it wants you to pay. Yeah, for real. Just like that. That'll be like something I won't. I guess you never say never, but like I don't feel like that would be. Like, anybody will like your stuff if you pay them to do it. Like, that's. Do you like my stuff? No. Well, what if I give you $5? It's like, hey, I like your stuff, man. You wouldn't be able to really trust that engagement because like that's like why Instagram is creating those like fake accounts, you know? Like, oh, it's an experiment. And it's like, it's not an experiment. You're trying to like meet in the middle with like viewbotting by creating accounts that are passively human when they're not. Anyway, Sexter, what do you think? Is the doing a little Zelda cartooning enough for the nostalgia? Yeah, I think so. It's enough for me, at least. time to save. Everybody save your work, whatever you're doing. That's all we got. Yeah. Let's get this fun vest on. Got the angle of the arms a little wrong. It's like she's a little bit more clutchy to the chest. I really should do a demo at some point about why angles matter more than distances. Oh, this is interesting. Yeah. So do you see this? Here we go. Do you see this overlap? And the way that this angle is going? Both of these should be the opposite. So this should curve over that way, and this should curve over that way. So we're gonna fix that in a little drawing. This could be its own stream segment, which is like Max fixes your broken ancient animation art, right? The humerus can still, with the elbow, come towards us, but then it has to bend towards the body. They really have it truncated. So it's like made shorter on purpose. I'm not sure if I love that because it scrunches up the whole form. And she gets squished. But there was a mandate back in the day where I don't know if you're old enough to quite remember this, but when I was growing up, TVs were giant tubes of glass that weighed nearly 100 pounds, and at the edges of the television, the image was so distorted that they just cropped it off with the bezel. So what was broadcast on TV was generally a larger picture than you actually viewed. You had the fuzzy TVs. Okay. Well, you know, so the tube of an old television was not square. It was like this, you know? And so what they had was a broadcast safe zone. Like this. And so this was generally where they would build the bezel for your television. But because that varied from time to time, and literally from monitor to monitor, they tended to actually bleed out the image. So you actually got more pixels than you were seeing. You know, you could see maybe as much as that if you cranked off the bezel and ignored the fact that it was distorting at the edges, right? It was the same thing with computer monitors. they had better ways of correcting it. Towards the end of all that stuff, they would actually like focus all that stuff towards the middle, but you were losing resolution if you did that. Got her head looking a little tall here, but I think we can roll with it. It's not the end of the world. I love this belt they gave her. It's like, what kind of belt should she wear? I don't know. Put a triangle on it. Perfect. No notes. And they really gave her a tiny waist. Nothing wrong with that. They do exist. Alright, let's see here. Beautiful flower. Alright, that's not too bad. We're not doing any time lapses for this, so I actually don't have that much of an aversion to like doing this, for instance. That feels a little bit more in tune. Decent start. And I guess that's the sort of mode we're in right now. Similar to the other Inktobers, I'm really just trying to get like a demonstration of the start and create a sort of paper trail of ideas. Somewhat consistent. Good start achieved. Let me do a super quick check-in with the old email system. Oh, that's cool. Adam joined. I wonder if there. What, like, I wonder if my I would log into my Gmail account for my YouTube. Tell me I've been a bad boy. Here. Ah, here we go. Your stream is interrupted. Streams are interrupted when copyrighted content is detected. After copyrighted material is no longer being streamed, streams are automatically re-enabled. I don't know what that means. Does it mean we're back up? I can find out for myself, I guess. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 5, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 32. Wow, nearly 30 seconds of delay. Yeah. So guys, just so you know, there was literally like 30 seconds of delay. I bet they do that because of the copyright content issue. But not sure how to get around that. Might be tech limitations, but it's definitely interesting. It wasn't that bad with Twitch, that's for sure. That's probably a Google thing. Okay, let's start a different pose. That's like the delay on live news in case the newscaster drops an F-bomb. Yeah. And yet I still, to this day, hear random F-bombs on live news, you know? I did a pose like this one already. This one's cool. I think if I just do this one and this one, that might be enough. And like, haters might say, like, Max, you just need to go in there and finish that drawing. But I'm like, you know what? It is, the information is like there. You know what I mean? It doesn't need much more than that, right? If I need to finish that, I'll finish it off like the day before it's due on Linktober. You know what I mean? I'm trying to follow a process that feels that'll be the caption. Zelda, part babe, part absolute warrior. It's like she's like cut her flower and also her bow and her boomerang, you know. I'm gonna fuck you up. Okay. Quick pause. I'm just gonna get some actual water. Real water. Okay, so this is a, it's a fun... They didn't draw the bow very well, but, okay, again, this is a stream died, now I'm back. Oh, shit. I'm sorry. From what I can tell here, we have another case of mixed perspectives, which is it's just like a normal like drawing flub that a lot of artists run into, right? Okay, I'm glad it's back. All right. I didn't know it died. I just stepped away for 3 seconds. From this low angle, we might theoretically expect... It's like this part of the bow is higher from our perspective than this part of the bow. But is it closer? Sort of an interesting question. Is it higher or is it closer? The way she's holding it, it feels like it has to be farther away from us than this part, right? But given the way they've drawn the bow, it's a little tricky to say. I don't know that much about bows, but I think from this perspective, that they... I don't know if it was intentional, but they... It kind of... Like, this isn't symmetrical, right? And it could have been. But I don't know if that was just, like, bad drawing, or is it like... Yeah, they tried, but I feel like they're sort of like, wait, is this supposed to be higher than that? And it's sort of like, well, what if I just sort of try it both ways and flatten it out a little bit? And in a cartoon, you totally get away with stuff like that. It's like it doesn't matter, but... But here, I want it to be clear. If we can, right? It feels like she should be aiming up. I'm also sort of limited by my own ignorance about archery. Let's see if we can't make something that looks good, though. It might be better. I might run into all the same problems. interesting. Curve and then double curve. Arrows of light. It's sort of interesting to me because I remember like a while back I was able to stream. You know what? I wasn't streaming on YouTube then. That was it. I was happily streaming Zelda cartoons on the stream. Not all of them, obviously, but like some. For research purposes. Like the first time I did the Zelda animated princess content.
No parents should have to bury their child.
And I know it's known, but this is all, everything's on its own layer, so if stuff overlaps or touches, we'll fix all that later. Interesting. That's the basics. I play around with the position of it in the composition, but this feels like a good start. And just to make it clear, the camera is under her hand, which makes all the stuff I was talking about, was like, which way is the bow actually pointing? It can become clear if you just sort of include these little contour indicators, right? No, the ambiguity is not necessary. might feel helpful to punt the decision somewhat, but it's a little bit of a lazy habit, and you won't learn much from doing that. Better to make a decision. What angle is right? What you're trying to achieve. That feels good. Is that you, Kasim? I would guess. We're not going to go too much longer. It's a not a busy day, but it's just not a day where I'm trying to crank out a masterpiece. There's a part of my brain that feels the fatigue from there are sustainable efforts, and then there are unsustainable efforts. And what I did the other day with the Princess Mononoke, productive effort. But then, like, afterward, the warrior needs rest, right? It's just not an everyday thing. Today we're planting seeds for the Linktober trend, which is coming before long. I like this pose too. We'll do this one, we'll call it a shot. It'll be a quick one too. I feel like the most important thing some days is just to draw without expecting a crazy masterpiece. Yeah. Once you get good at doing that, you realize it's like any drawing can become a masterpiece. Or can it, you know? Not necessarily any, but these are the we were joking earlier in the stream about how these like in the animation, it's like, wow, cool animation. But if you pause on the frames themselves, they sort of aren't perfect, you know? Often they do a very good job. There we go. Everybody check out Adam's links in the Discord. We can see his work. Adam, if you have any projects you feel like sharing, pop them in the Discord. We're all in the I'm trying to feel artistically productive in weird times kind of mode. At least I am. Helps reinforce the good habits. I reinforce way too many of the bad ones for myself. Drawing everything out of order. Hold on. We don't draw the hair and the ears before we draw the head, the chest, and the pelvis. It's not me demonstrating best practices if I just space out and doodle. Probably be fun to do like a doodle stream. But I'm not very practiced at that either. Max, have you ever played with Magma or Magma Studio? That is a Adam, if I'm not mistaken, that is the online sketching program, correct? But it's collaborative, right? I've messed around with it enough to sort of realize, like, hey, this is cool tech. But that also realizing it's like not enough people are sort of aware of it to like be at that zone yet where it's like, okay, this is since no one's here, I'm just sketching by myself. So what do I do with this, right? It's browser-based Photoshop. So Adam is correct. I don't mind firing up some of this later on, or perhaps on a different stream. Actually, it's a good idea. Let me make a note of this. Distracting stream. Note to self: ban Adam, and then check out Magma. Ban Adam. Check out Magma. Just kidding. Last I checked, I was pretty impressed by like the basics of it working. I was like, oh, this is not much worse or discernibly different from like, I mean, when you look at Photoshop alternatives, most of them are like, what is all this? All the buttons are in the wrong place. It's the same thing applies to Magma, but it being a browser-based and free and sort of collaborative, like Photoshop not collaborative, Magma collaborative. That's a tip in the scale towards Magma, in my opinion. Like, where's this tech, like, in this right now? We could all be drawing on the same drawing, right? Doesn't that seem like it would be smart? Like, if we were all, like, screwing around and, like, iterating on, like, some sort of crazy idea. Are you working on a Magma project, Adam? It's great for hanging out and drawing with people. Not great for polished work. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing at the time. I was like, well, this looks like it's, a little hard to like get some of the new, like, if it has good tools, but they're not that sophisticated, but they did work, right? Like, the reason you would use Magma is if you wanted several people to be drawing at the same time on a program, and like that aspect feels like it's like, that's not a, the tech isn't there yet. I feel like the tech is there for that. It just, if anything, all of our precious little toolboxes aren't necessarily compatible with it yet. But if you can do well with a basic round brush or whatever, felt like all that was working. It's been a while since I took a look, but that could be a good thing on a stream. Group chat and draw. Yeah, I agree. Oh yeah, like doodle session, yeah. Well, I do like the idea of like a group doodle session, separate from like a stream of consciousness, like no plan, like let your fingers fly and make a trillion mistakes or something kind of idea. How that might play out. Adam, have you ever tried Picarto? Do you know what that is? It's like a streaming platform alternative to Twitch. They never quite got as popular, but they are apparently not as discerning with not safe for work content, which is interesting. And I didn't know that was a aspect that they were going for. Although, like, this is the rub, right? Like, Twitch was a not safe for work platform till it wasn't, right? Picarto right now is NSFW friendly. For how long, right? The internet itself is NSFW friendly. For how long, right? It feels like the it's not that I want it to be, but it feels like there are forces at work that seek to limit the reach of the NSFW stuff. And if anything, it's getting worse all the time with the efforts to stifle that reach. So if you make a commitment to that, it's like, okay, this is my new thing. I'll be an NSFW artist. Well, you're only going to be doing that probably as long as you're allowed to be. And there are weird things happening in our collective societies now. Whatever you think of that stuff, I feel like it's an easy scapegoat for the ills of society. Not an accurate one, but an easy one. You don't want to necessarily make your work and your identity a target that way, but we'll see. I'm definitely going to try it. We need to find out where the line is. Then we can move forward with that information. This will be good because my sketches here will become famous. People will be like, such brilliant artwork. I never knew that the Princess Zelda in the cartoon was such a warrior, She's very active in the cartoon. She's constantly like, get up, Link. We're going on an adventure. And Link is like, aww. This is much like my wife. She's not blonde, but this is like her personality, where she's like, oh, she's sweet. And now it's like, put on your sword. We're out. We need to conquer the world. It's like, oh, you think you're the hero. Stand aside. Be good. It's still hard work, and you'll get stuck with the NSFW audience. I think that might have its advantages and disadvantages, and I think they'd eventually become disadvantages. Honestly, I kind of like drawing NSFW stuff just as figure practice. Yeah. Well, that's sort of the idea. Is I don't separate out like, oh, there's artistic fundamentals and then there's figure drawing, and I'm like, those are the same thing, right? The application of fundamentals are found in the figure drawing. It's like, to me, that's the most important thing, It feels like it's the hardest thing. It's the most important thing. Almost everything is easier than that. And it helps educate you on everything else. So it's like, why concentrate on anything else? Just get better at figure drawing, you get better at everything. Look at these thigh-high riding boots. Never noticed them before. Alright, just kidding.
Do not come between the Nazgul and his prey.
Yeah, it feels like to me, they probably had some actors that posed and they did a little rotoscope. Not necessarily rotoscoping, but at least had some references for some of these poses. Because some of the complexities are still represented here well in the regards to the human form. This is all good. It's just a little, you know how people pose when they're posing like they're doing something, but they're not actually doing the thing? They're like stiffer. You just have to crank that a little bit more. That's probably closer to what you would actually do for a boomerang. Like, so this is just her holding something, posing and holding something. And this is like closer to like actually getting ready to fucking chuck it. Chuck that shit. Okay, let's see here. Mess around with some of this stuff. Just make sure that like things feel substantial enough. We can come back to them. And the arrangement might change later on. But it feels like a good start. Yeah, it could be that well, we could play with it, but they don't all have to have the same brightness. Like the one in the back could feel lighter than the ones in the front. I like this. Do a quick save. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm feeling a little eepy. And this is the good start. You know, we're not trying to just crank it all out right now. How long did we go? Hour and a half? Not too bad. Let's do it like this. Alright, every day we do a little practice. Because, hey, you know, in light of current events, nobody knows what the heck is gonna come fucking flying at your head tomorrow. And if you can, try to prioritize getting out your creative thoughts in the limited time that we have on the planet. I think it's a good way to end it. All right, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Stay safe until tomorrow, and until next time.